people. So we're in the month of March, and that usually means that we have a brand new batch of ESL teachers in Korea. Fresh meat. Because we have a brand new batch, usually around this time, I get a lot of questions about Korea. One of the main questions I get, I always get this question. It is a hot topic of discussion, as it has always been since I started my Korean career. Korean career. Try saying that 5 times fast. Anyway, ever since I started my Korean career in 2011, this has been a hot topic of discussion since then. So I thought I would add my 2 cents on this situation. And I just want to put a disclaimer out there, because what I'm going to discuss in this video can be pretty sensitive, and it can touch people in all the wrong places. So I'm putting this disclaimer out there that this is just my 2 cents. It's just little Sam's opinion. I don't want a horde of like angry ESL teachers running after me in Jeollanam-do with like fiery torches, like, please don't come at me, please leave me alone, please. So this question that everyone asks is whether South African people should change their accents to the American accent, oh boy, in the classroom. Wow, did you hear that? I really can't wait to play this back so I can hear if you could hear that, because that person, that sounded like they were moving the Statue of Liberty into their apartment. So here's the thing. South Africans, I think a lot of foreign teachers, regardless of their country, but especially South Africans, they get approached by their co-teachers to change their accents or to sound more American in the classroom. Let me tell you what happened to me. In 2011, I came to Korea. My very first school, my co-teacher asked me, I've never been asked again. It was just at my first school that my co-teacher asked me to make myself sound more American, because the kids, they're more familiar with the American accent. And do you know what I told her? No. That's what I told her. Flat out, I just said no. Like, it's so easy. This is the thing. I don't even know why this is a question, because it's so easy to just say no. Like, you don't have to think of excuses. You don't have to think of stories. You don't have to ask people for advice. Like, you just say no. End of story. And you know what my co-teacher did? She laughed, and then I laughed awkwardly, and then we all moved on with our lives. And I continued working there for 3 years. That's right, I worked at that school for 3 years with my South African accent and all. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand why this is even a question. Like, it shouldn't be hard to say no. And if you find it hard, if you're uncomfortable to say no, like, pretend like you're putting on this terrible American accent to show them how bad you are at putting on American accents, and then they'll just leave it because clearly you're very bad at American accents. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you have to find an excuse, find an excuse. But at the end of the day, if you're uncomfortable with putting on an American accent, as uncomfortable as I am with putting on an American accent, then just say no. It's very simple. Just know that you're not going to get fired. You cannot get fired for refusing to put on an American accent. And so if you're not going to get fired, then just say no. You're safe. Don't worry. I am speaking for public school teachers. I'm not talking for Hagwon teachers. I've never been a Hagwon teacher. I've never worked at a Hagwon, so I'm not talking for Hagwon teachers. Here's the thing about Korea, right? A lot of us work for this program in Korea called EPIC. That's English program in Korea, right? Those of you who work for EPIC will know that EPIC hires teachers from about 7 different countries where English is spoken. So the fact that EPIC hires people from 7 different countries should tell you that they are hoping to expose the Korean kids to not just the American accent. They're hoping to expose the kids to all kinds of accents, because guess what? That is the reality of the world. The reality of the world is not just America. You're not going to go into the world and only hear American accents. You're going to go into the world and you're going to hear accents from all different places. You're going to hear different kinds of English. You're going to hear different kinds of accents. You're going to see different kinds of people. You're not just going to see your white American. If needs be, tell your co-teacher that EPIC hires people from 7 different countries, and there's a reason for that. If the schools in Korea only want American accents, then they must only hire Americans or Canadians, North Americans in general. Don't hire me as a South African and then tell me to change. Nah, it doesn't work like that. When you hired me as a South African. And with me comes my South African accent, with me comes my South African culture, with me just comes my South Africanness. And here's the thing, I'm not changing for anyone. I've been here since 2011. I think I've said that about 100 times, but I've been here since 2011. And can you hear the way I speak? Does it sound like there's a sliver of American in my accent? No! If anything, I think I've become more South African since coming to Korea. I'm like surrounded by American foreign teachers, and on top of that, Korea itself, they adapt the American way of life. When Korean people speak English, they have like an American accent and they speak with American English. So I don't know if it's because it's like life is just so saturated with Americanness here that I'm just like clutching onto my South Africanness. I don't know what the reason is, but I feel like I've become even more South African here. Let me tell you about my case. So if I'm in a classroom, trust me, I don't change my accent at all. The only time I will change my accent is if I say a word and I can see the kids like glaze over, then I will change that word. I will not change anything else. I'll change that word and then I'll go immediately back to my South African accent. For example, if it's the word dance, if I say the word dance and I can see that they glaze over, then I'll change to dance. Suddenly they're like, oh, and then immediately I'll go back to dance so that they can see that that's how I speak and dance is not how I speak. Because guys, I can't change the American accent. I can't. I refuse, guys. I refuse to say Z. When I say Z, I can actually feel my soul splitting into a million pieces. Don't even start with zebra, please. I get very touchy about the subject. The only thing I have changed in the classroom is my spelling, because the kids, they get very confused with the spelling. They've adopted the American spelling. So because I don't want to confuse the kids, when it comes to writing, I change my spelling in class. But when I'm outside the classroom, if I'm sending a text to someone, I go back to my South African spelling. Okay? The right way of spelling. I need to calm down. I'm just saying, for me, I embrace my South African accent. I embrace my South African culture. I embrace my South Africanness. To me, my South Africanness, that's not a word, I know. But to me, it helps me stand out. Like, I don't want to blend in with all this Americanness. I don't want to sound American like everyone else here. My South African accent, it helps me stand out from the crowd. If I walk into a room and I open my mouth, everyone was like, oh, your accent. And I'm like, yeah, bruh, my accent. So yeah, I don't know. Personally, I don't want to blend in with everyone else. I want to stand out. My accent, it makes me me. You know, this is the thing, right? We live in this world, depending on which group you belong to, we sometimes feel like we need to change aspects of our identity to fit in, but not just fit in, but to progress, to like not get left behind and to not perish in this horrible society that we live in. For example, being a woman in this society, it's tough because we still live in a patriarchal world. On top of that, being a person of color. A lot of people of color feel like they need to change their complexion to become lighter to progress in the world. Now, here's another situation where we're coming from South Africa, teaching English in Asia, and we feel like we need to change our accents to fit in. This even happens within South Africa, and I'm pretty sure within other countries as well. In South Africa, we have this thing called SSAE, that is Standard South African English. If you're a South African and you want a job in broadcasting, and you don't speak in the Standard South African English, whatever that is, it's very tough to get a job in broadcasting when you don't have that Standard South African English. If you have a very thick Afrikaans accent or a very thick Zulu accent and you want to be an English newsreader, it's hard to get that job. That's the society we live in. We all have these external factors that we are fighting against just to progress in the world. And here's little Sam, who is a woman, person of color, plus now I'm South African teaching in Korea and they promote this American accent. Oh my gosh, it's a triple whammy of external factors that I have to fight against. But you know what? I'm fighting against it. In response, I'm just pushing my identity on them even more. I'm not submitting, I refuse. I'm just pushing my South Africanness down their throats even more. And that's how I've been responding to it since 2011 when I first came. What's amazing to me is schools often want the American accent, but like even within America, there are so many different accents. I'm interested to know if you're watching this and you are American but you're from the South. Has your school ever had an issue with your accent? Because I know that when schools ask people to change their accents to the American accent, they're usually asking them to change to that standard American accent, you know? To a Korean person who's used to like a very standard American accent, that southern accent is just as marked as my accent. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just as distinctive as my accent. To a Korean person who is used to listening to like the accents that they hear on Friends. That's what I'm saying. So if you're from the South, let me know how your school reacts to your accent. So the moral of the story is, if you're a South African teaching in Korea and you've been asked to switch over to the American accent, don't. Like, if you're uncomfortable with it, don't. Your accent is what makes you you. It's literally your own unique voice, and don't change it for anyone. Korea hires people from different countries for a reason. So there's no reason for you to change to the American accent. So just embrace your accent, whether it's the black accent, the white accent, the Indian accent, or the colored accent. Just embrace it. Embrace your nationality, embrace your culture, embrace it all. And don't just embrace it. Do what I'm doing. Stuff it down their throats. People from around the world, they don't know a lot about South Africa. So embrace it, and by embracing it, you're teaching them about us. And you're teaching them that there is more to the world than that standard American accent. And you're teaching them that the world is a lot more colorful than how they see it. That's my 2 cents on the topic. Please, if you are a foreigner in Korea, let me know if your accent has changed, if it hasn't changed, why it's changed, why it hasn't changed. Let me know. I also want to know if you are from another English-speaking country, like, I don't know, Ireland or Australia. Let me know if you've also been asked to change your accent to the American accent, and whether you have. Okay, I'm gonna go. Don't forget, if you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyway, don't forget to follow me on all the social medias, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time with a new video. Goodbye.